Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. My name is Iman Naraini with metric number 2115748, and I will start the presentation on introduction for our group project on the topic of the sustainability of humanity and the environment in Islam, reaching out and making a difference. Aldo Leopold, an American philosopher, once said that we abuse land because we regard it as a community belonging to us. When we see a community to which we belong, we may begin to use it with respect and love. This piece of wood reflects the reality of humans' behavior toward nature and the environment beyond the modernization we achieve, as well as show a certain group of people who try to sustain the environment for future generations by having eco-friendly alternatives. Allah the Almighty has created the world completely with natural facilities that support human survival on earth, as in Surah Al-Fussilat verse 9 and 10. Therefore, we need to ensure the sustainability of the environment to be preserved for the use of future generations. In fact, the consumption of natural resources will determine the global humanity as outlined by United Nations in Sustainable Development Goals, or we call as SDG. So, what is sustainability? Sustainability is able to use without being completely used up, or is right, derived from the word sustain that could translate as a give, support to help up, to bear, or to keep up. That is mean we need to take care of our environment by having alternatives or efforts to preserve the nature. The rationale of this idea is because we as humans need the nature environment to support the sources of our survival. Radcliffe Brown defined culture as cultism, or which means organizing the relations of human beings to one another and organizing the relations of man and his environment. And the environment not merely refers to the humankind in surrounding, but also the other nature, flora and fauna. Indeed, human existence is a struggle to fulfill the goal of life, a secure and agreeable existence, as said by Leslie Irvin White, that requires human solidarity. Basic elements of nature include land, water, fire, forest and sea, and all of these belong to all living things like animals and not only for humans. So, in short, naturally, humans are interlinked to implement each other and use natural resources for survival. Sustainability of humanity and environment is the capability to maintain justice and tolerance in terms of human and environment law in order to create humanity across religions and cultures and reach a healthy lifestyle. Al-Quran, as the main reference for Muslim, covers holistically each aspect of life, includes the ecological principles for environmental conservation. Firstly, the sustainability of the environment is related with the concept of trusteeship or khilafah, which all humans created to uphold justice for human and nature. Environmental conservation is a religious duty and social obligation that has been the ultimate responsibility of trustees or Khalifah on earth, as mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah verse 30. Therefore, man as custodian of nature, equipped with the ability to think and act according to law and Sharia, thus people has forbidden the mischief on the earth, and Allah has the greedy and waste behavior that will oppress other people through Surah Al-Ma'idah verse 64 and Surah Al-Qasas verse 77. And for example, looking at the recent tragedy due to the climate crisis, 91,000 citizens in Selangor and Pahang were affected due to the flash floods, and there were over 50 deaths. Notably, the extreme flash flood in few more areas in Selangor opened the public eyes to the fact that it was not a common monsoon phenomenon like usually in Coast East Malaysia. In addition, there are remnants and piles of flying timber around the Telemong River, and there are bundles of logs drifting with flood water around the affected areas, especially in Pahang. This have raised the question in the minds of people whether the massive flood is actually the result of large-scale logging and deforestation activities, or it is really a natural disaster. In short, greed and evil from a man gives suffering to the innocent man. Indeed, many people misuse the benefits given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the nature and environment that cause environmental pollution, climate change, and global warming that is felt by all human and other creations either online or marine life around the globe. Moreover, Prophet Muhammad SAW forbade the destruction of nature, even forbid to cut the tree during the war as long as it remains advantageous to the enemy. He also recognized that natural resources should not be overexploited and emphasized the importance towards sustainability, cultivation of the environment, and other living things. Muslim has been appointed as trustee to protect the environment and sustain it for the other benefits and inherit it for the next generation. As in the hadith, the earth is green and beautiful, and Allah has appointed you as His stewards over it. So that's all from me, and I will pass the presentation to Sister Shahira.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Nushairah binti Muhammad Razmi. I will explain about sustainability development in Islam. The concept of sustainability in Islam, which consider Islam as a rule that is a guide in the affairs of human life, both in social and economic matters, and able to influence the faith of Muslims toward Allah. There are several principles on sustainability that have been mentioned in the Quran, namely Al-Adl, Mizan, Wasat, Amanah, and others. In Islam, there are also several principles that are related with sustainability of humanity. Firstly, Wasat, which means middleness. Wasat means the just and the best in goodness. Islam commands human beings to practice the nature of moderation in everything done in daily life, because Allah does not like people who are extravagant and greedy. Islam also does not allow waste and excessive consumption among human beings, because it will adversely affect the environment. Secondly, Al-Adl, which means justice. All human beings are equal in the sight of Allah, and all come from the same origin, even though every human being has differences in terms of skin color, appearance, religion, race, and gender. Allah says in the Quran in Surah Al-An'am verse 98, which means it is He who has produced you from a single person. Here is a place of sojourn and a place of departure. We detail our signs for people who understand. After that, Islam obliges all Muslims to pay zakat for those who can afford it, and it is one of the pillars of Islam. The third principle is ihsan. Islam encourages human beings to do good, which means ihsan to fellow human beings and other creatures by showing compassion and treating them well. For example, practicing good manners while talking to others and providing food to stray animals. Furthermore, the principle of environmental sustainability. Firstly is amanah, which means trustworthiness and custodianship. Allah give trust to human beings to be a Khalifa on this earth and carry out the responsibility to protect the sustainability of the environment from destruction. Allah also forbids human beings to do damage to the environment. Next is taharah, which means cleanliness. Islam attaches great importance to cleanliness, whether it is personal cleanliness or environmental hygiene. In Islam, cleanliness is considered half of Iman. After that, rahmah, which means mercy. Islam encourages Muslims to be merciful to plants and animals. Prophet Muhammad SAW said in hadith, which means there is none amongst the Muslims who plants a tree or sows seeds, and then a bird or a person or an animal eats from it, but is regarded as a charitable gift for him. Lastly, mizan, which means balance. Allah has created the earth and all creatures perfectly from time immemorial, which allowed human beings to live in order. So that as Muslims, we need to understand the concept of sustainability of humanity and the environment in Islam, so that we can apply it in our daily life.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Aisyah binti Muhammad Shafri with metric number 2112890. Today, I will explain about the plan and methodology in our project. To begin, in our project, we use the three most effective methods for gathering information. Online survey questionnaire, interview, and online observation are some of the methods we use. So, to be more specific, let me explain. First and foremost, we use the survey method to collect data and information from respondents. We use the Google Form alternative to complete the survey. We aim 50 responses from IIUM Gombak students and members of the community in order to collect significant answer variations for data analysis. This survey method has been spread on WhatsApp, Telegram, and other social media platforms. Moreover, survey methodology is the quickest way to get data and analysis since it is done online. If we compare to before, we presently need to use a lot of energy to distribute survey questionnaire to the wider public. So, the survey is now accessible online and we are satisfied with the results. Furthermore, it is available in two languages, which are English and Malay, to facilitate respondents to complete the survey. Respondent informations are strictly confidential and will not be disseminated to any party. This enables respondents to complete the survey without anxiety of disclosing personal information. Besides, this survey question is separated into three sections. First, which is about the respondents' demographic information, which includes gender, age, and nationality. The second section discusses their own perspectives on Malaysia's flood disaster. This section comprises three primary questions. First, the flood situation in December 2021. Second, the main causes of floods. And the third, the impact of floods in society and the environment. Finally, the third section consists of 9 questions about Malaysians' concerns about floods and the environment. The response in this part are based on the respondents' personal opinions. Last but not least, the questions form used in the survey included multiple choice answers, linear scale checkbox, and paragraph answers. The objective of varying the form of the questions was to elicit relevant feedback from the participants. Next, we go to the second method, which is interview. The interview is an important collecting data strategy that involves verbal communication between the researcher and the respondent. The information provided by the respondents was important in the project. The content of each respondent will be recorded and analyzed as evidence and data. We obtain a broad greater understanding by deepening our study of the project using this methodology. Our primary objective in this interview method is to comprehend the viewpoints of the study subject by sharing information about their lives, experience, or situations. We interview on IIUM respondent who actively participated in a volunteer relief mission for flood victims in 2021-2022. Her name is Nurul Fatiha binti Muhammad Azmi and she was 20. She have participated in a volunteer relief mission for few times in giving box of necessity and as well for the flood relief missions in Klang, Negeri Sembilan, Sri Nanding, Selangor and Kuantan Pahang with several affected areas under Sakinah Seoul International and Global Peace Malaysia at Sri Nanding, Selangor and Kuantan Pahang. Her first reaction when she reached the location was shock and overwhelmed with the situation. According to her explanation, mud and dust were spread across the road. There were many broken cars abandoned along the roadway. The shops along the road were affected due to the flood, and the items in the shop were broken and coated with the mud, as well as in the houses area. The scene of a flood is certainly unpleasant. We also asked about her advice to community who had not participated in any voluntary activities, and she replied, "Is try to explore new things. It is not only about volunteering. It is about gaining experiences. Volunteering helps you to connect with your community while also helping to improve it. Volunteering allows you to make new acquaintance, extend your network, and improve your social skills. We are grateful to have the chance to interview active volunteer member and obtain a wealth of detailed information through the interview." To sum up, this volunteer activity is a great endeavor in which many people are aware of the situation of society in the community that needs assistance. This type of activity is strongly encouraged by Islam. Community activities such as gotong royong and volunteering should be held on a regular basis, since they can serve as the finest platform for fostering friendship, collaboration, and hygiene. Many texts of Quran and Hadith emphasize the concept of volunteering cooperation among society, both mentally, materially, and physically, as well as spiritually. Islam strongly encourages its followers to assist their fellow humans. Religious teachings stating that such good deeds will obtain Allah's pleasure can be the most motivating factor for Muslims to engage this volunteer work. Online observation method. Online observation is to analyze interactions in virtual communities in their natural environment. Observation is a method of collecting facts in a systematic manner. Researchers examine people in natural settings or circumstances with all of their senses engaged. This project study, we use online observation methods by reviewing and observing social media posts on platforms like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and others. We discovered that millions of people help flood victims by publishing vital information on social media. As a result of these observations, many communities came together to help victims in Selangor, Pahang, Malacca, and other parts of Malaysia. Volunteers from other states also travel through the floodwaters to offer crucial things to the impacted areas such as food, medical, clothing, financial donations, and more. We observe Malaysians are reaching out and helpful in giving up their energy, time, and property to aid flood victims in their communities. For example, His Majesty the Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah went to review the flood situation in the capital city during the past flood. Through our observation in the social media comment, it is clear that the departure of Sultan Abdullah to personally visit the flood hit areas as a sign of high concern and humanity for the people affected by disaster. This demonstrates the importance of people's unity in Islam. That's all from me. Thank you.
Alright, thank you, Sister Aisha. Now we move to the result and finding. In our first method, which is online survey form, we collected a total of 32 respondents from Malaysian and non-Malaysian. We provided 3 sections of question, where first section asks about respondents' profile. We asked about second section asks about personal view on Malaysia's flood disaster, and the last section we asked about our respondents' experiences during the recent flood disaster. We have 32 adults our survey. 87.5% respondents were aged 19 to 24 years old, while the rest were 25 to 30 years old. There were 87.5% of the respondents were women, and almost of the respondents were Malaysian, and only 6.3% were non-Malaysians. Alright, from the figure here, we find that many of our respondents said that the last flood is the worst flood history in Malaysia, which is 40.6%, where the same percentage is also for those and their families who are safe and not involved in the recent flood disaster. This is result we expect because the last flood disaster was devastating and attracted the attention of many, even from those who are not from Malaysia. Okay, based on figure here, the result of the study found that 28 people agreed that the main cause of flood that often occur because of overflowing river, and followed by heavy rain, which is 84.4%. Alright, the bar graph here shows the impact of floods on society and the environment on the destruction of property. More than 30 respondents state that the impact was huge on humans. As for injuries and death, more than 30 respondents chose the large impact on human and less than 15 for the environment. Next, the graph for erosion and dispersion become a major impact on the environment with vote over 30 respondents and less than 10 for humans. After that, for the graph of scattered garbage bills had a huge impact on environment with a vote almost 30 people and only 10 who vote for humans. In addition, for the graph of environmental pollution, many respondents chose the big impact of course on the environment. There is almost 30 people who vote for it and only 10 also vote for its impact on humans. The last bar graph shows the total damage where the two are almost the same. For example, the effect for humans gets a vote of almost 25, and for the environment, which were more than 20 votes but less than humans. Alright, based on the bar graph here, we found that the type of assistance most needed during a flood disaster was the food kit, which got the highest rating from the respondent, which was 30 people, followed by the cleaning kit, which was 29 people, while the least is 1, which is 3.1%. We have expected that dua will get the least number of votes. However, as a Muslim, dua is the easiest and the most important medium that can be given to those affected by the floods, especially if our presence is far from them and it is difficult for us to come to the location to help. Alright, now we can see a bar graph showing the form of help we can do if we are unable to participate in a volunteer missions. There are two graphs that show the same highest number of 6.7% for donations as well as monetary contributions for flood victims, while the vote for other aid is also the same as the 3.3%, such as food donations, channel aid online to the volunteers involved, and more. Alright, these are 3 figures where we ask our respondent about their suggestion. We based on first figure, we asked for suggestion to alleviate the suffering due to floods, and we got various suggestions from the respondents. Among the most suggested in the survey is assistance from various aspects such as finance, clothing, food, house cleaning assistance, and many more, such as compensating flood victims, not to overshow our excitement on social media when we know many are grieving and they also need help to survive during this flood disaster. For the figure 2, We asked for suggestion from their opinion on how to reduce the number of floods that occur in Malaysia. There are many who suggest that illegal logging should be controlled. There is 9 respondents submitted this opinion. In addition, there are many other proposals such as early preparation by the government to deal with floods, repair the dam system, planting many trees, and many more. We also had opportunity to ask suggestions from our respondents for ways to reduce flood damage. Most of them, 10 respondents, state that early preparation from various aspects is the main step to reduce the destruction of floods. This we can see a lot of property, important documents, money destroyed by this severe flood. It is very important for us to make initial preparation by storing and placing this item in a place that is believed to be safe. Inshallah, that's all from me. Thank you so much for your concern and thank you so much for listening.